Hey, all of you beautiful souls. Today's video is on overcoming addiction. And, oftentimes people turn in the wrong direction when facing this, right? And by that I mean we have the exterior world that a lot of people often turn to. And they want to solve their problems in the exterior world. And that's why people turn to alcohol and substance abuse, or sexual abuse, or over sexual stimulation, and all of these exterior things to really subdue or suppress the problem. Everything starts from within, your inner being, your inner world. That's why when you truly discover yourself on the inside, I always preach it, you're able to then discover your life purpose, and you start, living a very authentic and truthful life that brings joy, though. Not just happiness, which is temporary, but joy, true joy from within. Now, you need to turn, right, on the inside into your inner world to really face and discover the real situation, the real problem. And this is where, addiction and abuse, alcohol abuse and drug abuse, substance abuse starts from. This is where people don't go inside. Instead, they, run away and they start to consume alcohol in these short-term, bursts of ecstasy that's not authentic or not real, which is why there's always an energetic crash afterwards, because there's a price you have to pay for that rush, right? So when you go, though, on the inside, you start to do the inner work, the inner engineering, then it lasts, and it starts to bring, as I mentioned, joy and fulfillment that doesn't end, it doesn't crash, it doesn't just, burn out. There's not a, hangover. So the one of the greatest causes is just that lack of direction, that lack of mission. You could have the greatest army in the entire world, but if that army doesn't have a precise direction on the map where it's going, then it's not going to end up anywhere. The army is going to eventually just break apart and disband because there's no precise direction. And this is why I always am preaching to you guys, and it's so important that you have real goals. And by real goals, what I mean is you actually write down the goals with actual numbers and detail, and then you give it an actual deadline, and then you go out and you spend the time doing the research and to really understand, not just know, but understand how you can accomplish that goal, and then you start to take the action. And this gives your life the purpose, the direction, the meaning, to where you're not turning to other escapes and running away. And this is why, as I mentioned, you discover your true self on the inside, and then you now have that life purpose, that meaning to write a meaningful goal. And this real goal asks you to become a completely new person, to where you are, in a sense, leveling up and becoming a new version of yourself. And this gives that purpose, that meaning, that direction to your life. Because oftentimes when people don't have direction in their life, right, we all start to stray away, and then that's where this emptiness and this just floating around starts to lead to a lot of abuse, a lot of problems, right, a lot of issues. And that leads me to the second part of this video. The second part is really focusing on the solution. Your focus creates your reality, right? So wherever your focus goes, energy flows. It's that simple. And when you discover yourself on the inside, you have free will. I get very passionate about this. You discover your true self on the inside, you now have free will to make your own decisions, to decide where your focus is going to go. Decide for yourself, what reality you're going to create with that focus you're now directing freely, right? So this this is the other point, right? You have the decision to focus on the solution. And it takes repetition, repetition, repetition. You can listen to a subliminal, but this is more of a practical, mindful, exercise that you just have to replicate, where you just start focusing on the solution. And you got to be mindful. Okay, oh, wait, slow down, right? Right, slow down. No more focusing on the problem. Let's focus on the solution. And through that repetition and that mindfulness, over time, you start to just always focus on the solution, and you start to develop inner strength, right? Not outer strength, right? I've seen these big macho guys go and get a tattoo or eat a habanero, and they're crying, and then you watch somebody else walk up and just eat 4 or 5, 6 habaneros, or just oftentimes it's the person that's not the big macho guy that's never complaining, that's always leading and motivating and encouraging the macho guys, right? And that's where this inner strength starts to develop from, right? It's just like when you go to the gym and you're doing your exercises, right? It's the same thing with inner strength. Inner strength develops from that repetition of focusing on the solutions, focusing on the answers to all of the problems. And when you start to redirect this focus to the solutions and the answers, and you do the research, and you turn the solutions and the answers into actual goals, then there's no more, suppressing. There's no more suppression, because when you just focus on the problem only, that's where the suppression comes from, and this suppression is what leads to a lot of these addictions. So the opposite, right? We start to focus on the solutions through this repetition and do the actual research, take the action to do the research and actually give it a deadline and turn it into a goal, and you now have the answer. You now have that drive to work on the goal, that drive to work on the mission, and you enjoy the process, right? You enjoy the process, and through gratitude, the third and final point, gratitude, right? And it is the most powerful emotion and energy in all of the universe. Without gratitude, there is no life. It's that simple, right? So with the application of gratitude while you're working on your goals, while you're focusing on the solution, just this very powerful affirmation: I am grateful to be alive. And you focus on all of nature, all of life. I am grateful to be alive. Game changer. You can have absolutely nothing in the world in terms of materialistic items, but with that, I am just grateful to be alive, and you don't need any materialistic items. You can go to the grave and just be happy still, because you are now connected to life, and that's what gratitude does. It connects you to life. So through the application of gratitude, folks, my brothers, my dear sisters, you apply this gratitude. And this application of gratitude while you work on your goals allows you to enjoy the process. And this is the inner solution to how you stop addiction, because that's where the real answer is. That's where you're really going to actually stop it, right? Not with all of these exterior solutions that 2D psychologists come up with. We got to start living in the 4D, the 5D, right? The higher consciousness from within yourself. Have a beautiful day, all of you beautiful souls. I really appreciate all of my beautiful sisters and beautiful brothers.